This video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki. Good morning, everyone. Hello, big good morning to my panel this morning. Dave, Bob, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Reina Creole, how are you doing?
Oh, good morning. I am doing great, especially as I am on paid time off this week, which means
Nice.
I can jump in here and hang out with you guys and not just have it on my phone and I'm in a meeting. Like, I really just want to hang out in the chat right now. So happy to be here.
And good morning to OG Star Wars. She is up early this morning to come hang out with us and talk about a certain bet.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, and I have my calf here. So traditionally, like from coffee chat, I'm going to go ahead and say, what's in your coffee? What are you enjoying this morning? It's 6 a.m. where I'm at, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me in.
Thank you so much, OG, for getting up early and hopping in here. Guys, good morning, everyone. Dave G. Sound, Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches, Soul Assassin, Adega Outlaw, the Doctor of Disaster and Destruction, Keely Chow, Roll Tide, Keely Roll Tide, and a big War Eagle for you. I can never make the right sound. Lady Mist, our guardian of the void. Lady Mist, good morning. How are you doing this morning? Brian Dawes, good morning. Good morning, Snortopoopas Cuber, my favorite polar bear on YouTube. How are you doing? Good morning, everybody. Gun Bunny. Good morning, Gun Bunny. If I missed you, anyone out there, I am sorry. We're going to kick things off. The huge topic this week has been about Book of Boba Fett. Everybody is talking about it. Everybody is getting hammered for their opinions, whether they liked it, whether they didn't like it, if they thought it was meh. It's like everybody's going after everybody, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it because I've seen some crazy crap since that second episode came out. I mean, people that liked it are going after people that didn't like it. People that didn't like it are going after people that liked it. People that thought it was meh, they're kind of getting sandwiched between both sides.
It's crazy. It's like, all right, so I get it. People are desperate for good Star Wars, but it's Disney. It's Disney. Everything's going to be significantly different when it comes to Star Wars. And being someone who compares and contrasts between the two lores, it's always going to be that way. So it's always going to stir up emotion with those. And also even those who come in critically and have a good point on changes and stuff like that, they're going to be attacked as well. It's just the state we're in with Star Wars right now.
Yep. So. Revisionists. That's what they are. Revisionists.
Very Very much so, because I know when I did a show when the first episode came out, and OG was in the chat.
Mhm.
Literally in the show, I held up a notebook where all I did was write down my list of grievances that I had,
Right.
with the show. But at the same time, I prefaced my show by saying, if you like it, that's great. I hope that they give you the quality of story that you deserve. And if you don't like it, you're well within your rights to want to not like it. What I don't understand is why people think that it's okay to just go after other fans because they have an opposite opinion. It used to be people in fandom would have differing opinions, you know, and you would debate all that stuff out. But at the end of the whole thing, we're all Star Wars fans.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you've got your people who, if you're a fan of Disney Star Wars, hey, go ahead, like that. That's up to you. I'm not going to, trash you for it. I'll
Yeah.
kind of maybe question your taste a little bit, but I'm not going to, trash you, for that. And at the same time, I don't like this idea that because of, like, say you're a fan like me, I watch the movies. That's my reference. That somehow I'm awful because I'm not seeing Disney Star Wars tie into the movies as they
No.
should. And they take certain liberties, like, why the heck is Bib Fortuna still alive?
Right.
You know?
Why the heck is anybody alive off of Jabba's sail barge? It's like
Yeah,
half of the sail barge made it somehow
boom.
magically.
That was
Yeah.
incinerated on, an atomic level, and now all of a sudden these people are friggin' back. Are you for real? You
And
can't
then
let that stand.
right. And then I'll just, do my thing, compare and contrast. In the original lore, I believe the only one that survived the barge was Bib Fortuna, but like everybody else, like all the servants, everybody dead. He I vaguely recall how he got off and
Mhm.
how he survived, but he ended up becoming a Boomer monk. So his brain was ended up putting inside one of the spiders. And
Mm.
so he helps, I believe, Luke with something during that time frame when we found out. But yeah, so that he did originally survive in the original lore, but everybody perished. And he wasn't this big crime lording like that. In fact, he went towards the religious sect, and that's why he
Mhm.
became a Bomer monk. So there's that story on there, but it doesn't make sense for almost everybody, especially a band, surviving and when they're inside enclosed inside the barge.
Exactly. And it also kind of goes to my point where if you have this stuff
Mm-hmm.
that's in the EU, don't just pull it out of the EU and not tie it back
Mm-hmm.
to the movies, because that's, to me, that's very lazy. To me, I would think that if you want at least everyone to kind of have a basic level of knowledge of the Star Wars lore, which is the movies, you have to tie it back to the movies. I don't care if it's a throwaway scene. I don't care. Well, I shouldn't say throwaway, but there needs to be some kind of tie-in, whether it's a flashback to what happened, that,
Mm-hmm.
somebody knows what
I got one.
happened, even though
Got
we might not know what happened, but they need to put that in there, because if not, people are looking around like, why the heck is he still alive?
That's too
Mm-hmm.
much flashback already.
Oh no, that's different. See, here's the thing, which it seems Filoni did not learn from, if he was smart, which I don't think he did, was to sit down and watch The Godfather Part Two.
Yes. Yes.
That
That is the
you
perfect
know what I'm
Yeah.
example.
you know
Yes.
exactly what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. They used flashbacks, but they used it to either answer questions or advance plots at specific points in time, and they all had a reason for doing that.
I
Here, they just use flashbacks because, you know what? We don't really want to do too much work. We'll
Well,
just,
I'll go further than that. Okay, so they wanted to make it important for us, for the viewers, to know what happened to him, like from the Sarlacc all the way up to Mandalorian. So they're doing the Bacta plot device flashbacks, which I'll go into more about the Bacta and how that works and not works, basically. So what they should have done is, if they wanted to give us his flashbacks and where he came from, the Sarlacc, how he survived, how he became a Tusken, blah 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 blah, then they should
mhm.
have just began the show from when like from when he was coming out of Sarlacc, and then they could have developed a deeper story for him as they move forward to the like the era or the time frame of Mandalorian where we last see him. They would have to have a chance to expand more on details instead of having these stupid Bacta tank plot device for flashbacks. Yeah. So, but they weren't thinking, they want to give you both. It's like someone said on Twitter they're trying to have 2 plots in one show.
It's 2 shows in one show.
Yeah, basically. That's how they worded it, though. And
it doesn't blend. Like Lorena was saying, it doesn't blend. You watch something like The Godfather Part 2, where, okay, you're dealing with Michael, but the movie doesn't start out with Michael. The movie starts out with Vito. And then as the movie's going on, you're seeing what's happening with Michael in real time, but you're going back and seeing Vito going through customs, Vito being held by customs and being put in isolation, him having to grow up, what happened when he grew up and got married, the kids being born, all this stuff, him going back to Italy, which is my favorite part of The Godfather Part 2, is when he goes back, he's like, oh, Don, how are you? You remember me? I beat the Corleone. Oh, God, I love that. But it doesn't blend. It's not blending like that. It's like aggravating when you're like, okay, well, we just spent 14 minutes with Bubba with his helmet on, and now we're spending 30 minutes with Farmer Long John Bubba.
How about Uncle Fester? The Uncle Fester one. That's
yes.
What he looks like, because when they dress him, it's Uncle Fester. I'm sorry.
Is he Uncle Fester or is he Stoner Boba Fett?
I don't know.
This is your brain. This is your brain on Lizard.
When he's on the speeder, I'm like, it's the dominant Toretto of Star Wars, like a bantha. Like a bantha. You're like, wow, Dom, I didn't know they were getting Dominic Toretto.
Well, well, that's like Dances with Wolves when he's like, when he's trying to describe like Tatanka, and they're like, what? And they're all looking around and stuff. I'm like, are you serious? Are you going down that friggin' trope right there? First of all, it's Tuscans traditionally see technology as a blasphemy, okay? And they also see farming water as blasphemy because water is very sacred for them. They only were against settlers because of that, not because they were settling Tatooine. They can care less about that. What their ideals were about, like these other species, what went against their strict, I guess you could say, dogma culture. But that's the original lore. They're recreating the Tuscans, and this is what we're getting. This is what Star Wars fans who are still trying to stay with Star Wars is getting.
And the reason why they hate technology is they were a very Earth-like planet. They reached for the stars, and aliens invaded, enslaved them, and then glassed the planet. Yeah,
exactly. The Rakata.
So it's like, this is why they hate technology. They would not get on speeder bikes. They will not use blaster rifles. They have old school guns.
And then to reference Kenobi novel, Kenobi novel, they did end up stealing a evaporator, but they enslaved a human to keep it running because they didn't want to touch it. Yeah. So sorry, Lorena.
Oh, no. And that makes perfect sense. So for example, to go back to the movies, I remember the Sand People being, nomadic, very fierce race of people that you did not want to mess with. They didn't deal in technology. And I forget the name of the weapon that they were using, but even in, the Phantom Menace, they were taking pot shots at everyone in the pod race.
Yes.
And you totally understood, why they were doing that. So that's why me having that knowledge from the movies, I'm like, what do you mean? They're all techno now. And they're like talking. Like to the Mandalorian, it's like they're actually talking to this guy. I don't get it. It just doesn't wash for me.
Yeah, I want to hear them, up on a cliff. I don't want
Okay, that needs to be cliff. That was
perfect. Yes.
Somebody called them the rednecks of Tatooine.
Wow. Well, they want to go like Western kind of like, Western culture kind of stuff. That's what I'm getting. This is going to turn into be a apologetic like nod to indigenous people like Native Americans, be like, oh, white man bad and we're sorry and this is going to be our way to make it up for you kind of thing, and we're going to go ahead like Boba did and he stuck up for the Tuscans, when the train and the crime lords went through, or whatever they are, and they're like, you need to pay a toll and you need to respect these people. So this is exactly what this is. This is apologetic kind of like, we are sorry, white man bad. We are sorry for what we did in the past, inserting our, reality into the show.
And I really can't stand that because this is supposed to be sci-fi. This is supposed to be something different and otherworldly. It's like I'll take another fandom, like Dune. Some idiot, I forget what their name was on Twitter, was basically like, okay, it's a sand planet. So how come there aren't any black people? I'm like, this is science fiction. Dude, just shut up and watch the freaking movie. Everything does not have to have some tie-in or direct tie-in to Earth history or some apology for Earth history. The Tusken Raiders, they don't need a savior. They're perfect exactly the way that they are. Why bother changing them? If anything, I want to see more about who they truly are. I don't want an apologist, an apologist setting for the Tusken Raiders.
They're not human. Why do they try to humanize them? They're not human.
That's my point. And even to give us a glimpse of their culture and why they respond and act the way they do, and it's not necessarily humanization. It's given us an inside look of why they are responding and acting the way they do. And now people are saying, this goes against the purpose of why Anakin freaked out about his mom, the visions about his mom and how he found his mom, right? So now we got to look at Anakin as more as the bad guy than the one who's like wanted to rescue his mom and found his mom, and basically, even though it was still bad, right, went hams on them because of what they did to his mom. Now it's changing the outlook on that. And that also goes against his turn then too, because now the Tuscans are misunderstood.
Oh yeah, they're misunderstood. Yeah, Hollywood. I thought of this as soon as I watched this episode. I thought of this. Hollywood took advantage of Native Americans for years, or in the early days of Hollywood. Then you get something back in the 90s called Dances with Wolves.
Right.
And as soon as that comes out, you see all these Hollywood women up on stage in very Native American like clothing with bracelets and necklaces. Let me tell you something. Them women did not give a flat buck about Native Americans. It was just the thing to do at the time.
It was trend and cool.
Yes.
Cool.
And that is exactly what we are seeing come out of Hollywood now. The industry has got to be, oh, well, we've got to do this. And, oh, well, we're going to say we're mixed identities or blah, 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 blah. We're going to say them, they, them, and thou instead of him or her. It's exactly what you're getting now. And when they are done with this, including Disney, they are going to piss all over it and say sayonara and never care about it again because it's not the trendy thing to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, and I've had someone was like really going against my thoughts about the Native American thing. I did approach that on my coffee chat a little bit. I was thinking about doing a video on that and how I don't like it. Cause I used to be like, oh, I'm so happy my people has escaped this diversity checkbox thing and we haven't been inserted in Star Wars and like that as a virtue signal. Now we are. So I'm like, I'm a bit pissed about that.
Bro, they're running down the whole list of groups that they can run through, and then when they're done, toss it aside because it no longer fits their agenda.
Yeah, yes. We're tokens now. We're tokens. That's all we are is tokens to them for money.
Yep, and that's the way they see all of it. It's all token. It's all money. It's all look how good we can be. Oh, the Tusken Raiders did a rain dance at night. Look how
know. Oh my
culturally up on
God.
everything we are. Yay. And if you haven't seen Echo Base's video yet,
Oh Lord.
in response to them getting hammered on their review for this, go and watch it now. If I can get Coach in here later,
It will bless your life.
It will bless your life.
Fine.
It is amazing. You guys will have a good laugh. And I think that's what we all need right now is a good laugh. Just take it with humor, take it for what it is, and stop being butthurt over a friggin' show, over a friggin' opinions, whether we agree or not. Because that's how it's going to always be. Fandoms are going to agree. They're not going to agree. Yeah, we are still seeing a split because of what the ST and Ryan Johnson and all them did, mocking the fans, and the fans who are like licking their boots basically are siding with them. We still have that divide, right? But still, you know, just come in with compassion. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe someone will change your mind. Maybe not. But just go in there and have a constructive conversation. That's all you need to do.
It's like I said, I did not like that episode. I did not like it at all. But if you like it, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
That's right. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you're meh, you're meh. What you've got though is you've got these crazy ass people that I'm pretty sure are Raylos.
Don't get me started on that. How dare you not like what I like? Get a freaking grip.
Yeah.
I mean,
emo solo.
Really, it's just like if you like what you like, who cares? Why should you care what someone else thinks of it?
Oh no. If you don't like it, and this is so, you know, I've been like following like the ratio that Raging Rhino got on the stupid, just like comparing.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
And someone was like saying that he's controlling people.
Oh my God.
I'm like, really?
Mind control.
That's
Stop controlling people. Basically, I forgot exactly how that was worded, but I was like laughing so hard. And you know, we're making jokes about it, right? You know, you're like, yeah, Raging, you have such power that your tweets control everybody.
Yes, they go out into the interwebs, and we say must agree with Raging Rhino.
Yeah, you're holding them hostage with your tweets.
Stephen Glenn with the $10 super chat. Welcome back, Stephen Glenn. He says, I think Jon Favreau's writing has been good. I've enjoyed it. I think some of this discussion is overly critical. I asked that the other day if I was being overly critical. Writing an interesting story that can be produced in a time period must be tough. Did you know, Stephen Glenn, that Jon Favreau handed Robert Rodriguez a script write-up for all of this, and it was about a third of the story. From my understanding, it was about a third of the story. So Jon Favreau basically was like, here, this is what I got so far. This is kind of like a treatment. I don't even have all the episodes written. Here you go. Fill in the blanks.
You know, I gotta say, if this was The Mandalorian, I wouldn't be as critical. But this is the second Star Wars show that they're doing. And The Mandalorian had some obvious show running problems. Like the second season, I was going to drop out midway because they just could not get their crap together.
Yeah.
It seemed like that. So if we are, I'll speak for myself because I don't want to speak for everyone else on the panel. I am going to be overly critical because one, this is Star Wars, and two, it's not their first rodeo. That's what I'm saying. It's not. And there's so many obvious black holes that are in these episodes. I wish they weren't there, but they are. And it's kind of just like Stevie Wonder could see the plot holes that are going on, in here. It's not like they made like one or two slight errors and it's like, okay, I can forgive them for that. There are some big honking problems in here. Right. And I don't care how great a director you are. I love Robert Rodriguez. I really do. He has directed some awesome movies, but as a director, if you're handed a turd of a script, there's only so many ways you can polish that. That's all I'm saying.
My question, I'm pondering, was the lizard in that script, or was it Rodriguez's idea?
Can I just say I'm disappointed the lizard did not show up in the vision? Okay, I'm sorry. I was expecting for it to show up in the vision. Like talking.
Right.
That's just me.
And Mark the Eminently Tired makes a really good point here. He says, Loki, the modern Star Wars fan, have become the bullies of the 70s and the 80s that made fun of kids who love Star Wars.
There we go. That's a good point.
That is a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was expecting the Geico lizard to start talking.
Hello, Baba. Who are you? I'm the lizard.
Like Geico or something, huh?
Yes.
Let me guide you through the vision.
Let me guide you.
Need insurance? Call Geico. Oh my
Need
God.
insurance on your bumper? Call the lizard.
Yep.
Worried your bumper will break down in the desert?
Oh my God.
Oh, somebody has to say Bantha Poodoo at the end.
Right. All right. So which part did you guys, besides the blizzard, because I think we're all unanimous on that one, which part made you go like, what the F?
Like a bantha. Ride it like a bantha. Dominic Fett, ride it like a bantha. I was like, what in the F, Disney?
Oh my
And those
God.
teeth.
Yeah.
You can see them from 10 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that the markings on his face, it's not from the sun, it's not from the Tatooine sun, it is from the Sarlacc. So that's what I'm getting at. Now, if he got that much damage, and people are saying like he also got some lung damage from ingesting or inhaling the bantha's acidic digestive juices, then if he did that, if he did breathe it in, then his nostrils will be like bad, like a cocaine user, and then his teeth as well would have some wear on that because of that acid. And
right.
So it's probably nitpicking, but that's just what I've noticed as well.
It's not just the acid, though. He had to fireball his way out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And while his suit may protect him from fire, it's not going to, even Nomex will not, your skin's still going to burn. You're just not going to catch on fire. So the heat will still burn your skin, which is, I believe, why he has the scars all over his body in the flashbacks compared to where he doesn't once he's been in the Bacta tank.
Mm-hmm.
But that heat will still burn. You just won't catch on fire. So his skin could have been damaged. All the burn marks on him, that could all be from his fire.
But the thing is, I'll go with this. Okay, so I can only speak so much for Disney lore when it comes to Beskar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is now Beskar versus back then it wasn't yet, because once the storyline got back like to Legacy of the Force, the Mandalorians gave him a whole new Beskar armor suit. Okay, so during that time frame, it was, I forgot the name of it now, but it was a different metal. And Soul Assassin, please let me know because I'm blanking on it. So if it was Beskar, that heat wouldn't have burned him, and while he's still in the suit. If it was the other armor, it may have, but it's still somewhat more protective than any other type of armor. Like, you see stormtroopers and stuff like that. So that's where I kind of question. I'm like, it's kind of iffy on that. He should have been protected no matter what. And then, so if he burned himself inside the Sarlacc pit, like he did, like you're saying, then why didn't he burn himself when he was in episode 1, when they were enclosed inside those shields with the ninja people, when he shot off the fire there, the rocket and stuff like that?
He should have been. He definitely should have been.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's inconsistency right there. And people are going in and they're writing the script for the writers, the creators, because it doesn't make sense.
It's true. I completely agree with that. We have a pop-in. someone apparently heard us talking about them and said, Loki, can I please come in? And yeah, sure. So here he is, the man who made the music video.
I love that. Oh my God.
Yes.
I was crying last night.
It's close to midnight. Da, 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 da.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good
That right there, I
morning.
think everybody needs a good laugh. That provided, because everybody's got to stick up their ass when it comes to people reviewing and not agreeing with
Yes.
Am I talking to the wonderful, amazing OG Star Wars that fights
Yes, you
wars
are.
on Twitter every day for Star Wars lore and truth?
you. Right? Yes. Hello.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank
You're
you.
awesome.
Well, thank
Thank
you for
you.
your channel too. Yeah, thank you for your channel too. It's hard, keeping up with Star Wars with all this and still trying to give something good an opinion without being attacked and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were attacked over and over and over and over, and I'm a nice guy the first 5, 10, 15 times, but eventually the hands come up and I'm ready to fight. So I fought for a day, and and then I thought, okay, it's time to start outsmarting these people. And
Play the game against them. Play their game against them. That's what you
Echo
do.
Base Network strikes back. That's what happened in our video last night.
And it was
And
perfect.
some people are so triggered, like, in my main message, obviously I was trolling and trying to have a good laugh at it, but the main thing was we're arguing about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, the things that you've attacked me with and called me and stuff like that, we're arguing about Star Wars. And that's okay. That's okay. Peace and love. Please remember that it's okay to disagree.
Right.
Just because we didn't like it.
Yes.
It's just like, just because somebody else didn't like what you liked, life
Doesn't
isn't
make me your
over.
enemy.
That's right.
Exactly. It's like my grandma would say, what you eat doesn't make me go to the bathroom, so don't sweat it.
Well, Lorena knows this because
Hey,
she
Reina,
ran.
I didn't realize this was. I'm driving, y'all. I'm sorry. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Drive safe, man.
Yeah.
Dang, Loki got me in here with the ladies. All right.
Yeah.
And Dave Bob. Dave Bob's here
hell
too,
no.
damn it.
Hell no. Forget that.
Yeah, we're not calling Dave Bob a lady. Unless that's
What's up, DB? Love you, brother.
I'm doing good. Like I said last night when that video dropped,
You were mad at me, weren't you, at first?
Yeah. Well, I was saying, is he backtracking? And then I clicked on it.
Lorena knows this.
We're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Laughs like a box of chocolates. Yep.
Lorena, you ran the lunch table. You still run the lunch table.
Yes.
I did the round table for the comic books. What happened to the time where you could sit and either have a conversation? Oh man, just Star Trek's better, man. No, dude, Star Wars is better, man. Star Trek sucks. No. But at the end of the day, you put up your trays and you were like, I love you, man. And it was there was no problem. You could argue all day. You could argue about it all day. And no, man, Vader was like evil to the very end, man. No, dude, Luke was cracking him down slowly but surely. No, it didn't matter what you were arguing about, how heated it got. At the end of the day, when you got up and the argument was over, you were friends again. That seems impossible now.
It's it's the reason why it's impossible, and I think the reason why is this. You have people who are in the fandom because it's a fad. They're not in the fandom because they're invested, and they're invested in it for the long haul. Okay, case in point, I'll give this example. Right. So in other words, some sci-fi conventions that I would, that I would go to because I was definitely a fan. And then you had some people who went just because it seemed to be the popular show at the time, and they just wanted to seem cool and hip and just get to meet the actors, and that's all they freaking cared about. But if you had a conversation with them, there were basic things about the fandom that they didn't know, and neither did they care to want to know. So you have a group of people who are fly by night fans of a particular fandom. I will say it, like Disney Star Wars, okay, that they are, and it's fine that you're a fan of that. But because they're not truly invested, anything that goes against what they think about that is a threat. Because when we're all invested in the fans, it's like at the end of the day, we're all fans.
Right.
We all love this, love this body of fandom, things about it that we absolutely love. We're not always going to be agreeing, but at the end of the day, we are all fans of this particular fandom. And in it for the long haul, spending the money, spending the time, all of that. And now you have people who aren't really interested in doing that.
Yeah.
It's true. And Mags here, I want to point this out because this actually happened to me yesterday. While all this stuff was going on with you, Coach, I got a phone call. I'll say in a minute, but I think it's people who have wrapped up their identity, personality in their sacred cows. When you provide criticism for such things, no matter how constructive, they think it's them you are criticizing. And that is true because I got a phone call. I got a phone call in the middle of the day yesterday because I put out a tweet, and my tweet was in response to, or it was the day before. I can't remember. Anyway, it was whenever all this shit happened with Echo Base. Yeah. That day I put out a tweet and I was like, you know what? If people are saying that you need to stay posive about Boba Fett.
Yeah. I retweeted that. Yeah.
And I was like, no, we're going to stay honest and we're going to tell the truth.
Right.
And this creator called me and was like, what the hell, dude? You're like talking about me. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about what happened to Echo Base. And he's like, oh man, shit. I've like you said, Coach, I've had my hands up about this whole situation because he likes it and he wants to stay positive about it. And you know what? If that's what you want, that's fine. I wasn't talking about him though. I was talking about basically all these people shilling over on Echo Base about how, oh, you can't be negative about this show. You have to stay positive. Right. But he took it personally. Like I was going after him and I was like, bro, why would I do that? I don't know.
Funny how people, Loki, it's funny how people take their criticism and then they twist it. Like we've been attacked and they're incorrect about so much of their attacks, such as all me and Nick said was we didn't like the episode. That's it. We didn't say that we hated the Book of Boba Fett. We didn't say that we hated Tamora Morrison. We didn't say that we didn't support Dave and John. We didn't say any of that. And all these people are people within our own community, by the way. I'm not going to name them, but they're saying, you need to support this. You're wrong. And I'm like, no, all I said was I didn't like an episode. Right. And if it continues this way, I might not support them. Now, here's another thing. I got two quick things for you, Loki, that's very similar to what you just said. I had a paid member of our channel send me a message in the middle of the night and said, you're going to war. I don't support this. I'm out. And I'm unsubscribing. And I said, there's no amount of money that would convince me to not ever be true to myself.
That's right.
So best wishes and good luck to you. And the last thing that I wanted to say too, and I think that OG Star Wars can probably speak on this better than any of us. If I might be wrong, but this is how I perceive things. There is some type of clash, war, battle, whatever, between George Lucas Star Wars fans, those of us who have been fans for decades and decades, and people who grew up a little younger than us. Some of them are, like if you grew up after the original trilogy and the original trilogy is not your favorite, in all likelihood, you think this show is gold and you're great with all of it. But it's a lot of us that are going back to our original Star Wars novel from 1976 and saying, oh, the Tuskens, they're murderous.
Right.
The Tuscans are nomads. There are few of them left. Humans shoot them all the time, and Tuscans murder them as well. Like talk about changing lore and talk about canon, and just because I have an opinion on a show, and there's a lot of things about Disney Star Wars that I didn't know or I forgot. It was 2:00 in the morning when I reviewed. I forgot who the Pikes were. I watched the episodes. I had never read a Dr. Aphra comic book, so I didn't know who the Black Wookiee was. And if you want to fault me for that, that's on you. But I don't feel like I'm missing out on very much.
Nope.
Yeah. And you are right. There is this kind of clash or whatever that, and I don't know if it's like would be like a superiority kind of deal or whatever, but it's like this newer generation. And I think maybe even in the past, newer generations always look down on the older generations, and they fail to look at maybe there's some wisdom that these older generations have with what they experience. And this goes with Star Wars too. When the foundation of Star Wars is not the EU, is not the TV shows. It is what George created with the 6 movies, beginning with the OT. That's what established that foundation. Yeah, as he was creating the OT, he had made some changes because he figured that the direction that those changes would go would create a bigger story with, and then whoever he brought in to help, hired to help create these movies, they were all successful on his vision, right? And so then we get into the newer generations, and now they're like, what you say is like null and void because we're getting new stuff. And, and so you have that stuff. And then it goes into the EU of the decanonization of the EU, which basically was starting, part of the building blocks of the PT, which it doesn't make sense. People who are like, oh, I love the PT, or even if they don't, and they use it as evidence. They're like, the EU, George never liked it. He never wanted nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, the PT world building is all EU.
That was our Star Wars for years. That's all we had.
Yes.
Yep. And so there's that big thing. And I think like that when they made the statement that they weren't going to use any of the EU and they wanted a clean slate, that's now what gave people who wanted to totally be just Star Wars fans and move with the new era of Star Wars and stuff like that. That's what they used to talk against fans like me and those who, loved and grew up with the EU and the PT and the OT and stuff like that. And we're still seeing it continue today.
And they weren't honest. They weren't honest. I want to make that very clear. Disney was not honest because they said we are wiping everything out. We are starting over. That's not what they did. They decided, well, we're going to cherry pick what we like and what we don't like in the EU. And we're going to keep that canon and we're going to keep that canon. But we're going to erase all of this and we're going to get rid of all this because it goes against what we want to do. But this other stuff over here, we're going to keep. We're going to keep Thrawn, which is an amazing decision, by the way. I love Thrawn. Those are my favorite books in all of the EU are the Thrawn books and the books that come after, because believe me, Hand of Thrawn, all of that is absolutely kick-ass. Those are kick-ass stories.
But I'll, sorry, Loki. I mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But, I'll even bring this to the theme park. So the Galactic Star Cruiser is a freaking garbage fire with nitroglycerin on it, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I look at those rooms. Right? Oh, I get a little TV screen as my window. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I get that. I get, like it says 2 days, but I don't really get 2 days. And guess what? I get to go to Batu in a little bus, with screens on it that's supposed to be like a shuttle or something like that.
Hey, we did that. We did that in elementary. Believe it or not, we put little things on the back of the bus and they put wings on it. And if we had a high enough grade, we got to, quote, go to Mars, unquote. And we had fire extinguishers in the back of the bus that we got to hold the handle down and shoot them so it looked like smoke was coming out. We got to do that then. That was 30 freaking years ago.
And this is what they do now. And it's like, come on, folks. It's like if you would have themed this to the original trilogy, which was the original plan, by the way, in case people aren't aware of it. Yep. Imagineers had that plan was original trilogy. You go to if you go like over to Hollywood Studios, okay, as soon as you come out of Star Tours, it was planned for all that to be based on the original trilogy. You come out, you're on Tatooine. and you
Right.
expected to have like Mos Eisley Cantina and all of that stuff laid out. And Kathleen Kennedy says, nope, we're not going to base it on what 50-year-old white Star Wars fans have been used to. We're just going to go with this new stuff. And it has bombed ever since.
They even had EU. They even had Lorena. I know you know this because Florida, but they even had EU merchandise at the end of the Star Wars ride at Disney in Florida.
Yes.
You would come out and they had like, I had this long sleeve Jedi Academy shirt. And that was the Yavin 4, Yavin 4 Jedi Academy. And it had the Jedi symbol with the lightsaber. This was all EU stuff.
It was so packed because it was Tatooine Traders. That whole area was, you couldn't move when you got out of that ride because there was so much merch to the point where they had to make a different experience, which was the launch bay, and put more Star Wars material over there because there was so many people crammed in that small area because there was so much great stuff. I mean, that was notorious. You come out of the ride, there's all this stuff that's there. Now it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
Now it's a ghost town because no one is, well, let's put it this way. There's too small of a population that's interested in what Disney Star Wars has to offer. I mean, they'll haul out OT if they want to sell merchandise or pimp, Disney Plus Day. That's why for the first time in like years, they had Darth Vader in the park, and he hasn't been in the park in years. That's the only reason, why they do it. So it's
Okay.
I ran on that forever.
So let's go ahead and go back to the Book of Boba Fett, episode 2.
That's true. We did.
I'm like taking over on Loki's channel. I'm like, okay.
Oh God, I'm so
sorry. The people who are attacking because a few of us didn't like it, I didn't realize until yesterday what their argument was. And they're saying that we are stuck in 1977 and we don't like anything after George's last movie, which is untrue. I really love the Clone Wars. And I really enjoyed Rebels, and and I love the Mandalorian personally, but then this is where I have an issue, and I'll shut up after this. Their leaders are some younger YouTubers. I'm not going to say their name unless you want me to, Loki.
Oh, say about name drop. I don't give a shit. By all means,
this came from the young kid Josh at the Den of Nerds.
Oh,
and this is not an attack on him. This is not an attack on him. This bless his young heart. This is his. I think it's out of ignorance, to be honest with you. But he said that this makes me sick when he said it. He said they do not like the reinvented Star Wars. And I'm like, reinvented? That I do have a problem with that. Why are we reinventing Star Wars?
Because the originals are all full of Yahtzee, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Problematic.
Problematic.
Yeah, because that George was very racist. If you haven't seen that go down lately, like even with the Watto and his species for himself representing the Jews and stuff. I swear to God, these people are like grasping and using that stuff so that they can, explain why they're changing and adding this diversity checkbox kind of mentality into Star Wars. And I'm like, just focus on the story. Everybody's hired for a reason there. And if it calls for someone with, a different color skin like human, then yeah. If it's calling for a species, that's okay too, whatever, and dress up as a species. You need to look past the skin color, past the gender, and just go into the story and submerge yourself into the story itself. Because that's what Star Wars is about. It's not about the human condition, really, like our world. It's about this space fantasy in a galaxy far, far away. And people forget about that. It's, you want to immerse yourself in something and get yourself out of reality for a little bit, because
I want to escape. I don't.
Yes.
I don't want, the headlines screaming at me all the time.
Yes,
Right.
and that's the thing that killed Star Trek. That is exactly what killed Star Trek. That's why I won't start. Oh, we're gonna use Star Trek as a platform for current day political issues.
I heard that.
Yay!
Mhm.
It's just I'm just going to put this out there too. And I'm so sick and tired of people saying that Star Wars is, problematic and it's not diverse and all that. Diversity, first of all, is not the selling point number one.
Nope.
Okay, it's not. I
Mhm.
hate using the term person of color, but dang it, that's the vocabulary that's out there. As a person of color, watching Star Wars, yeah, I noticed that there weren't a whole lot of people that look like me, but that wasn't the freaking point of the movie.
Mhm.
That was not the point. We would make jokes like, "Hey, where's the black guy at? Where's the black guy at? How come there are only black people in here?" But it was a joke. But in general, we didn't freaking care about that. What people
Mhm.
cared about was Vader's a badass mofo, and I want to see what happens to him, and I want to see how this fight happens up, and I want to see what Luke Skywalker's up to. No one cared about so-called lack of diversity. It's people who want to project that. You see that that's
Right.
a problem with it.
Mhm.
No,
Yep.
I completely agree. I absolutely agree. And
Yep.
and Star Wars is that Star, and those kids that are like, well, it needs to be reinvented and the originals need to be washed away. These are the same people that want to rewrite history so that their point of view is more their truth. And that's all I keep hearing is their truth. This is my truth. Well, I believe that this happened, so that needs to be the way it is. Well, I believe that Star Wars is full of ist, obes, and Yahtzees, and we have to change it. I believe that doesn't make it a fact. That doesn't make it a truth. And when you wipe away a whole section of Star Wars and say this never existed, that's not your truth. We all know the truth. We spent years supporting Star Wars by buying their books, by buying their video games, by keeping up with the lore, by investing our time and our money in Star Wars. It existed. We all know it existed. We all know it existed. It doesn't just
Exactly.
not exist anymore because you don't like it. Mexican Iron Man says Black Wiki Lives Matter.
I did like that Wookiee though. I thought he was freaking cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, make no-
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, make no mistake about it. I have been a science fiction fanatic all my life. I mean, literally since I was 6 years old. I was 20 years old when Star Wars came out, and it just pains me to see all the infighting and everybody saying, that the old stuff is no good. The younger generation, God help them, they have a lot of problems to overcome, but this, constantly just trying to find something wrong with something because it doesn't have this in it or that in it, and they're trying to project themselves into everything. You can't do that. You've got to have a story. You've got to follow it. You don't have to project yourself into it.
Loki, did you see the chart, the graph that I posted
Yes.
on Twitter?
Yep, what was it? 29%, 29% Bubba now, 70%
Well,
Bubba in the past.
28.9% of the show is Boba Fett in the present time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of my main issues with the show is that
Mhm.
I thought this show was being billed as a Mandalorian spinoff. It's not.
Right.
No,
It's a
not.
Mandalorian spinoff in flash forwards. They're not flashbacks when the majority of your setting is in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach, what do you think about this back to flashback like plot device? Because, after 5 years and after all he's gone with, Back is not going to work on healing. He should have healed already everything by
That's
then.
exactly right.
Yep.
That is exactly right. And I think that is a terrible plot device and totally unneeded. Totally
Mhm.
unneeded.
Right. Right.
I totally agree with that. I'm just like, why are you using? I'm like, first of all, back to tank on Tatooine. That didn't sit right with me.
That Bacta is very, very rare. And if Jabba had his own supply, the casing for it would be
Mhm.
so much different because it would only specifically be for him, right?
It could have
Right.
been for Bib Fortuna.
And
It's
And-
possible.
I'm sorry.
And then if he had Bacta, that shit is like gold. People would have sold that quick after he died to get
Sure.
some money.
Right. And just like Bacta is like gold,
Mhm.
the pike's supposed to be super freaking dangerous. These are the people you do not want to mess with. However, a scarred up old dude with a stick and a handful of other people with sticks
Mhm.
can take them all down while they're on an armed train and all armed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark the Infinitely Tired, who's been a member for 12 months and is a member of Loki's army, throws out a member chat and says, "This panel is strong with the
Oh,
Force."
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You can't see me right now, but I just flexed. Hey, no. Thank you so much. But yeah, there's a lot of great points there, like with the pikes or whatever. Like I had to go and research them because I really don't get into Disney Star Wars unless I'm researching and doing a compare and contrast. And it's been a long time thing that I've been working on, but I'm comparing and contrasting Rogue One versus Dark Forces. So that should be interesting how people respond to that once I get the video published. And so looking up at the pikes, like Coach said, they should have been very ruthless, mean and stuff. And it feels like they're making their villains weak so that they can make the heroes, I guess you can say, look good. They have that history of doing that. And like even with Kylo Ren in the Disney trilogy, you know, he's made weak. And even with Snoke, he was made weak so that the protagonists can be triumphant. And the protagonists are only as strong as the villain. And I think they don't realize that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's harkens back to not to cut you off, OG, but that
you're good.
harkens back to classic storytelling, the
Mhm.
classic hero's journey. The villain is supposed to seem literally invincible,
Insurmountable odds.
Exactly.
Insurmountable odds.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because unless you have a super strong villain that looks like he almost cannot be beaten, the story doesn't work.
Right. Mhm.
More
Now-
dinosaurs.
More dinosaurs.
And
Star Wars and
houses,
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
magic
Yeah.
houses.
All right. So speaking of friggin' dinosaurs and their descendants, Coach, what did you think? I did watch your review because everybody's like, you need to go to Echo Base and see what the hell happened to them. They got they got bombarded with hate and stuff. So I went in and watched and I left my comment. But what did you really think? Like when you first seen it and stuff, and even after seeing it and digesting it, what did you think about this new lore of how you become a Tusken versus how you become a Tusken in the past and how your Daffy stick is made? And as we've seen, you know, you snort up a lizard, it makes you go on a holy journey
my
trip
God.
and to find a tree that's grown somehow on Tatooine, a desert planet, you know, and then you
Yeah.
bring it back as an honor to build your own. So what do you think all about, about that?
Well, I had the thought, where did they get wood? So I actually went and researched that, and I had no idea. Now I don't know if this is Disney Star Wars or not, OG. So you'll have to say I'm going to lean on you for this. But apparently there is some type of twisted up tree that's extremely rare that grows on Tatooine. I didn't know anything about that until after watching this episode, and I'm assuming that has come to us after 2012. I don't think that goes back before that. And as far as the lizard goes, I thought that was incredibly dumb. Incredibly dumb. And I also thought that the whole concept of the Tuskens taking Boba in is incredibly dumb. Like, these are not the people that you should be using to build your army or whatever. And somebody even said on our channel, well, he's obviously going to use the Tuskens to take over Tatooine. And I'm like, well, then there again, they're changing the lore because there aren't very many Tuskens around. There are few in numbers now.
If the Tusken, if all the Tusken tribes came together and descended on, like, let's say that city where the mayor's in, they're going to burn that bitch down. but not Bubba, not anybody else is going to be able to stop them from burning it down.
Right.
There will be no, well, I have the Tuscan Raiders and they're going to help me rule. No, they're going to burn everything down and go back out into the desert and go, They're not going to guard your vault or your property or son, people, go out and protect this diner. No, they're going to burn it to the go in and slaughter everybody, enslave the staff, and pull them out single file to hide the number. There is none of this.
And here,
go ahead.
And here's another thing with back what OG was asking. Now they've included, they just on a whim, they add the haka, the Maori dance.
Yes, that true.
As part of the ceremony for the Tuscans. The Tuscans are teaching Boba Fett the dance, like accepting him after he tripped and went to find the tree and stumbled his way back to make his gaffy stick, which all that's stupid to me. But to me, to add something from the real world like that on such a whim, I think that's disrespectful. However, my Michael Jackson Thriller video, I'm getting attacked by some of the haters saying that I am not appreciating and I'm hating the Maoris because I'm making fun of the dance. And I'm like, y'all are really idiots.
I'm going to interject here a little bit because I can't believe I didn't bring this up before. I actually met Tamira Morrison at a convention in the UK years ago. This was, I think, after Attack of the Clones. I actually got to see a couple of the Maori guys from that movie do a war haka in front of me, along with Sean Astin.
That is impactful. Okay. Oh my God.
That was freaking cool. Not in any way did I think that it was disrespectful that they included it. I just think that they weren't smart enough to kind of blur the lines. So the first thing that I'm thinking of is, oh, that looks exactly like the Maori war haka. Couldn't they have changed that so it didn't look so obvious? But that makes no sense that you're getting attacked for it. Is God, people just.
The Maori has nothing to do with Star Wars, and putting the dance in there just as to have like this tribal dance that the Tuscans do doesn't mean that they're Maori. So that's not an attack on that, and that's just them straw manning, and that's
exactly.
That's just them basically wanting to insert our reality in Star Wars so that they can have something to argue about. Now, as for Tatooine, like the original history of Tatooine, it used to be a lush, planet with lakes, oceans, forests, and stuff like that.
Very Earth-like. Very Earth-like.
Until the Rat Attack, not Rakata, but the Rat Attack bombard it and then turn the planet glass. And then after many, many years or decades or whatever, centuries, basically any of the type of shrubbery fauna that survived basically it grows low to the ground. And so there was really no trees. If anybody found what is hearkened to be a tree, might have been petrified, but basically everything did not survive because it turned it into a glass planet that eventually turned into a sand planet. Yeah. So that's the history of Tatooine per original lore. Now today, I have no idea which way they're going, but it doesn't make sense for like plants. When you go in the desert, plants, they will be either like cacti that has no solid trunk foundation, and it's all fibrous and watery on the inside, which people can use to get water and stuff like that and consume, like most of them. Or you're going to have all your shrubbery like low to the ground because of the heat. And that's all, and then like you have like the Joshua trees here in California, which are very distinctly different than a normal normal tree that we have in, like the valleys and in the mountains, and all that stuff. Like even in the plains area, you have very few trees. And they mostly grow like where there is the source of water. So that doesn't make sense to me. So there's my spiel on that. So with that seance kind of thing that they put Boba through, like we said, they are going through an indigenous kind of trail so that they can insert like apologistic kind of reality trope in there when it comes to like people colonizing indigenous people's lands. Like people have said it reminds them of dances with wolves, right? And then we have more using his culture for the dance. So people are, so this is what we're getting. This is what we're getting is reality inserted into a fantasy sci-fi, and it really doesn't make sense. And as a native myself, I am very, very annoyed with this because now they're like, oh yeah, they want to honor you or they want to represent
Bullshit.
you. So that, they are sorry and they recognize that colonism isn't bad and this is what's going on in the show. And Boba now is basically the white knight that we see today that people go and defend, like my culture and Lorena's culture and stuff like that. He is now the white knight of it. And
he's not Lawrence of Arabia.
That's right. He's not. I've got a couple of super chats to catch up with before we end this. Mexican Iron Man with 999 super chat says, great video last night, coach. As for me, I'm drawing a line in the sand for quality entertainment because Mexican Iron Man shall never bend the knee to be simp. Athletic to weak storytelling. Ahoo, ahoo.
Aho, aho.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
I love Mexican no iron in the pants, Mike.
Damn, you just kind of castrated that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did not see it going that way.
Love you, brother.
Mexican Iron Man again with the 999 super chat says hashtag Black Wookiee Lives Matter.
Oh my God.
Mexican Iron Man likes a good time, but no burning Tuscan man-fire desert party is going to get me to start snorting lizards. N-O, N-O. No.
Oh my God.
I couldn't like lick the lizard like, normal.
Like
I
the
guess I
toad.
should say normal humans. When he just had to freaking snort a like I said in my tweet, it's an 8-ball. He snorted a lizard and a spice at the same time.
And that's what I cracked up because people are telling me, oh, it's the peyote lizard trip. And now you're like, it's an 8-ball. And I'm like, oh my God.
It was a frog, a psychedelic frog, like a bantha. What happened to he's no good to me dead? When did he's no good to me dead turn into like a bantha? Yeah.
I think that Boba got amnesia when he got knocked into that Sarlacc because he forgot everything he was about. And then these people got amnesia too because Boba in the mask, in the suit, people feared him. Like everybody in the galaxy feared him because he was very popular. He was known as the guy that gets the job done, right?
That's right.
And that he was hired by the best. And the top person you can get hired by is the Empire, and that's Vader, right? And when Vader has to warn you, no disintegration, you have respect from Vader, and the respect returned back to Boba, and there is like a power play there, and that is total badassery right there.
But he's supposed to be taking a beating now because Fennec's better than him because she's an assassin. He's just a bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Even the IG-88 droids knew better. Even they learned. They were like, oh well, we'll go ahead and try and go get Han Solo while he's on Cloud City anyway. Yeah. And Bubba completely fried one of them. And even the droids learned you do not mess with Fett. If Fett is on the trail of someone, leave it alone. Let him do it. Do not interfere.
Right. Yeah. And I will add this before I know you want to, end the stream here pretty soon. For Coffee Chat, I decided to switch gears on what comic we're reviewing. And so I went back to Bloodlines. And in Bloodlines, and I don't know if all of you guys are familiar with that, so I'll give some synopsis on that. Bloodlines, we not only get to see, like Boba having a family and what happened with that.
Yes.
And that's very heartbreaking. But it shows Django testing him to look fear in the eye when he had to go and retrieve a tooth from the Bell Yag. As a boy, as a 9, probably 8-year-old boy, he had to take his jetpack, fly into the mouth of that Bell Yag, which is the most feared beast in the galaxy, and retrieve a tooth and bring it back to Django. And he's like, why did you put me through that? Because he was successful. He's like, you have now looked at the fear in the eyes. Now you have nothing to fear at all.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
If you haven't read that book, Coach, that book's connected to a lot of other books in the EU because it's like part of an ongoing story. What was that series called? Was it Power of the Force, or I can't remember what the hell that whole series was called that Bloodlines was in.
Oh, Bloodlines, that's Legacy of the Force.
Legacy. Okay, so Legacy of the Force is the name of that series. I would suggest starting from the beginning and going through. They're some of those books are kind of hard to find. And if you have them, like I got all of them, I pre-ordered every single one of those. Some of those books are worth like $5,000 now. It's insanely stupid because they did very limited runs of a couple of those. Bloodlines is hard to find. If you can find a pristine copy, I've got like an old copy without the dust cover. But those are really, really awesome Star Wars stories
in hardcover, because you can get them under the Legends label. But if you're like, I'm done and I don't want to give Mouse House any money, finding them without the Legends it can be tough.
Yep.
So
I've got all the original hardbacks, the first edition hardbacks.
Nice. Yep. And
Brandon, the anime guy.
Yeah.
Brandon, the anime guy with $5 super chat. Yep. Pass on this show. This is why I watch anime primarily now. Wicked City is anime a week for tomorrow. Cheers all on panel, y'all. Wicked City was one of the first movies, Japanimation movies I ever watched. Absolutely awesome. Mags with a $5 super chat. Y'all been on fire this morning. Keep lighting it up. Thank you so very much.
Hey,
Mags, thank you all for your super chats. I'm going to throw you guys $1. Sorry I didn't get to each and every one of them this morning, but hopefully this makes up for it. Thank you so much for your super chats. You guys keep the fires burning bright here in Valhalla. Skål!
A dollar? I've never seen a dollar. Nobody's got a dollar. Let us see the dollar. There it is. It's beautiful. Take your hat off, boy. That's a dollar bill.
I want to thank Dave Bob, my co-host, for being here today. Thank you so very much, brother. OG Star Wars. Thank you so much, guys. If I can get a mod to throw a link out, it is in the description of this channel. If we could throw a link out for OG Star Wars. Thank you so very much, OG, for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me in. I had fun.
Loriana, it is always a pleasure to get to hang out with you and get to talk with you in the morning. We miss you on our Friday shows. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on. I love being on when I can. I miss you guys. Miss being on a panel on Fridays.
We miss you. And Coach, thank you for taking your time out of your ride to work this morning to talk to us and to joke with us about the Thriller stuff. You guys took too much crap the other day, and you don't deserve it, but you definitely trolled them back, and that was absolutely hilarious.
S tier trolling, my friend. S tier. I had fun. I appreciate the panel. Y'all are always welcome at Echo Base Network, and we'd love to have y'all there on a show one day. This has been a lot of fun, and yeah, man. You might want to wait a couple weeks unless you like getting punched in the face, but.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You can find OG there. Reina Creole's link is also in the description of this stream. Thank you guys so much again for being here. Thank you, Lady Miss. She says fantastic show to Loki and all those on the panel. Thank you to our guardian of the void, Lady Miss. Guys, thank you. Asaj Melody says thanks for the great show and a great week. Sorry, Coach, I didn't know. And Arwen Aberlon, y'all have a great day filled with Twinkies. That's what Arwen Aberlon. Twinkies.
Hey, I'm a school teacher. I'm a school teacher. Nobody can insult me.
That's right. That's right. Hell yes. Everybody take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak friend to enter. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.